Okay, got it. All right. Thank you, Eric. And welcome everyone to November session of the Family Empowerment Hour from the LTCCC's Family Empowerment team. My amazing colleague, Gloria Murray, is here from her car in a secure location. And we are really pleased to have Terry Gersmeyer from the Colorado Ombudsman team in beautiful, snowy, cold Colorado. Are you in Salina today?
I am in Salina today.
Okay, nice. So for you skiers out there, please don't hate. We're going to be talking today about compassion fatigue, and Terry knows a lot about it, and she's going to share some nuggets of wisdom with us. We've got some questions from people who registered beforehand. I'm thinking of my friend Bridget. But otherwise, please feel free, either place your questions in the chat or raise your hands, and we will call on as many of you as we possibly can. But ask a question. No question is stupid. We're really looking for some input, especially from family members, because we are all experiencing compassion fatigue, whether we know it has a name or moniker like that, but we're all going through it. And the sooner we talk about it and handle it, the better we will be as care partners.
Janine?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to also mention that we're using a little bit different format today. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of a video on compassion fatigue, and then we're going to hear from Terry, and then we're going to finish the video. So once we're done with all that, the mic is open for all of the family members or anyone attending to ask questions. Terry's just dying to answer questions. And as usual, so is Janine and I. So we look forward to this. And yes, compassion fatigue is real. So I think we're going to turn it over to Eric to start it off with our initial video clip.
Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. And thank you,
Okay,
Eric.
Janine, we're a team.
All right. Thank you, teammate.
Eric, we are not getting sound.
Yeah, you might have to go back and hit that little sound thing.
All right, rookie mistake here.
And yes, exactly.
I was just testing everybody.
There's
Okay.
always technical
there it
challenges.
is.
It's good.
Okay, good catch. Okay, I'm gonna start it. Share. Take two.
Are you exhausted? Depressed? Are you anxious for all the wrong reasons? Do you suddenly burst into tears for absolutely no reason? Do I sound like a TV commercial for an antidepressant? Well, I'm not. This is what happens when giving is no longer living. I mean, have you been asking yourself, what is the matter with me? Why do I feel so awful? I have a great life. I have a fabulous job. I'm very, very, very busy. I have tons of friends. My family is awesome. Why do I keep complaining? Well, I want you to complain louder. All these feelings are totally okay. And I can promise you, you are not alone. In fact, if you are taking care of someone, it's actually quite normal.
One simple but brilliant trick to heat your home in 90 seconds and save thousands of dollars on your heating.
That's just a little, you know.
These feelings are the cost of caring for others, the cost of losing yourself in who you're being for everyone else. And these feelings have a name: compassion fatigue. Yes, it's very real, and no, it isn't when you're tired of being nice. Compassion fatigue is a dark, insidious syndrome that creeps up on you. You don't know what it is, you don't know you have it, you just know something is very wrong, and you don't feel like you anymore. Compassion fatigue was discovered in 1992 by Dr. Charles Figley, professor in disaster mental health of Tulane University. Now, Dr. Figley defines compassion fatigue as the emotional and physical burden created by caring for others in distress. It can also be known as secondary vicarious stress disorder, which is comparable to PTSD. But if you have compassion fatigue, you don't have PTSD, but you do start to take on some of the symptoms as if they were your own. Now, back then, Dr. Figley was primarily referring to ER nurses, firefighters, EMS workers, pretty much everyone in the professional business of caring. So as I was digging deeper into my research, I started to realize that a lot of these symptoms was really starting to feel uncomfortably familiar. Symptom number 1, irritated and frustrated most of the time. Check. Symptom number 2, feeling absolutely worthless and terribly sad. Check. Symptom number 3, isolating yourself and disconnecting from everyone around you, including your own family. Nothing makes sense anymore. Double check.
Phone call completed.
Hang on. This didn't make sense.
Gloria,
I'm not an ER
iPhone.
nurse. I'm not a firefighter. I don't look after somebody with PTSD, and I don't deal with trauma every day. So remember Dr. Figley, who discovered compassion fatigue? Well, I called him. And that's when the light bulb went off. We are all potentially vulnerable to compassion fatigue. You don't have to be in the professional business of caring. You just have to be caring. Did you know?
Thanks, Eric. So, does that sound familiar to anyone? Is anyone feeling irate and short-tempered and just pissed off despite having been blessed with a good job, friends, family? Jody Denton, is that you? Are you one of those people?
Yes, very much so. And as I'm watching this, I'm looking at a video of my dad's toenail that was just clipped at the nursing home. So yes, I'm trying to work my full-time job, and yes, I identify.
We hear you, sister.
Thanks.
Terry, what do you think?
Well, my question to all of you, and I want to know why, to begin this, I want everybody to think, why do those flight attendants say when you get on a plane, put your mask on first before helping others? Do you ever think about that? Can anybody give me just a thought? There's no right or wrong answer, just if you can start the dialogue a little bit. Why would they tell you to put your mask on first?
Because if we don't take care of ourselves, how can we take care of the child or the person who can't next to us?
Right? 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 Any other thoughts? Sometimes we think, like a mom who gets on a plane, right? And she's got 3 of her kids, and then something happens and all their masks drop down in front of them. They got to go, because we got mom's hearts, right? And family hearts. And we just automatically reach out to try to fix and help them first. That's kind of, at least for me, that's automatic, and I got to retrain myself a little bit and say, no, they said I better put mine on first and not really have a thought. Why? Because I automatically, react and try to help my kids or my family first. Anybody else have thoughts about that? Can everybody unmute themselves if they want to talk?
Mhm.
Yes. Does anybody, Jody, do you have any kind of thought about this or surge
I
or guilt
do.
or
It's
gross?
it's just sort of pouring from an empty cup. It's just trying to do everything, and like I'm not eating well and not sleeping well, and it's just overwhelming. We're relatively new at this. It's only been since June, but I think my sister, my mom, and I are all feeling this, which is why I tuned in today.
Okay, well, that's wonderful because if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be able to handle things that come our way that may be stressing us out. And I want to point out real quick, there's a difference between being burnout and compassion fatigue. Now, you can have both. For those of us who work, we may have burnout and then we may have compassion fatigue. They kind of can coincide at times. So I want to give you a couple definitions. Compassion fatigue, the emotional residue or strain of exposure to working or caring with those suffering from consequences of a traumatic event. Sometimes they're traumatic. Going into a nursing home is quite traumatic for most of the residents. I mean, they give up independence, they give up so much. It can be such a traumatic event for them. It differs from burnout, but can coexist. Like I said, compassion fatigue can occur due to exposure of, different areas of life, and can be due to a lot of different levels of trauma. And it can be real big traumas, but then there can be little traumas too that affect our lives. So I'm just going to go into symptoms of compassion fatigue. Don't mind me if I'm reading off of something. Stop me if you got any questions, please. Symptoms affects many dimensions of our well-being, right? Nervous system, sleep disturbance. Oh my gosh, you're not sleeping well, right? Emotional intensity increases, right? You're usually not that emotional, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself more emotional, crying for no reason, like the TED Talk talked about. Cognitive ability decreases, kind of get brain fog a little bit. Behavior and judgment impaired. Isolation and loss of morale. Depression. Loss of self-worth and emotional modulation. Identity, worldview, and spiritual impacted. Beliefs and psychological needs, safety, trust, esteem, intimacy, control. Loss of hope. Anger toward predators or casual events. You get mad at that CNA and that nurse that just told you some bad news, right? Those are all symptoms, and there's multiple different levels. I'm gonna right here stop a minute. There's Mother Teresa understood compassion fatigue. She wrote in her plan to her superiors that oversaw her ministry that it was mandatory for her nuns who were caring for on the streets of all these sick people and different things, that they take an entire year off after 4 to 5 years, and that they were allowed to heal from the effects of their caregiving work. And that's an extreme, but we all caregive, not only do I caregive in my work is over 4 different counties in Colorado to all these residents, and I oversee other ombudsmen. I also go home and take care of my husband. My husband has a lot of diagnoses, and I basically go home from my job to taking care of my husband at home, physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm his caretaker. So I know what compassion fatigue is like. So anybody have any questions at this point before I go on a little bit? Are all of you involved with caretaking of your loved ones in nursing homes or at home?
I
Yeah,
think Charles has a question.
Yeah,
So Charles, go ahead and speak up.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're doing this topic today. Um, most of my life I've been like in a caregiving role because I've spent my life basically working in hospice and nursing homes and those kind of situations. And that I could do. But I find when it's somebody close to me, when it hits me personally, I
Mhm.
experience all the symptoms that you described. Wow, especially the irritability, the everything. And I think like a large driver of that is worrying about one's loved one. And that really is so much of source of the stress that is there rather than because I know when I'm talking to family members in my professional life, what I always used to tell them is the best way to take care of your loved one, you want to take care of yourself, like what you said with the airplane. But when it's happening to you, it's like everything can fall apart
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're so consumed with worry and concern and sadness, not for you, but for the person you're taking care of. And so I wonder if you could address that and ways to cope with that kind of stress, because that really could be overwhelming.
Absolutely, Charles. Yes, and that was we're going to enter into tips for managing compassion fatigue and what we need to do. So if everyone wants to take a couple notes down, or this is being recorded, so you can look at it later and write some things down. But what I'm going to cover next is what are tips for managing compassion fatigue. So I'm going to go over the do's first, right? You do this. So do find somebody to talk to. Okay? Do find somebody you trust and you can talk to. And then do understand that the pain you are feeling, anxiety, worry, all these things you're feeling, it's normal. It's normal, guys. It's what we do, right? Do exercise and eat properly, please. Do get enough sleep. Oh, that's a big one, right? Do take some time off if you work, or just take a break at home if you're living with a loved one, or just take a break. Just stop and take a break. When things happen sometimes and we're feeling it, we either want to fight or flight. Have you heard of that? Those are the two extremes. Either we go and fight with the loved one or the person that's come against, or we flight. We just run from it. Just stop. Take a break. Do develop interests outside of your normalcy. Maybe do some things that you like to do, and do identify what's important to you. I gotta say, I can come home and my husband didn't do something really simple, and I come home and I'm like, that's not really important, Terry. Just let it roll off your back, Okay, now I'm going to get into some of the don'ts. Don't blame others. Don't blame others. Don't make rash, major life decisions when you're feeling like this. Don't fall into the habit of complaining with other people. Don't work harder or longer if you're working. And sometimes when you're at home, you run around and do more tasks around the home. Don't work harder. Don't self-medicate. A lot of people start drinking more, doing more things, I'll take some more pain pill. Whatever self-medicating is to you. And don't neglect your own needs and interests. And I'm sure there are other things. Don't should yourself. I should have done this. I should have done this. Don't should on yourself. So this leads us in, what do you do for self-care? Charles, I heard you talking about your worry. So is there something that works for you, like read a book or exercise? Say no to, and then another good example is say no to activities or people who drain you. Okay, we all know some of those, right? Say no. Learn to say no. Don't be a yes to everything. So I want you to think about that. And then does anybody want to speak up, and please speak up and tell me what you do, what works for you for self-care. Charles, you had brought that up. Do you have something for self-care that seems to help calm you and take some of the worry away?
Yeah, I do. And all your suggestions are so helpful. Thank you. But well, I mean, one of my specialties is biblical scholarship. So if I get involved in a research project, I can be totally immersed in that. And then at least for a while, I can shut the rest of the world out.
Okay.
And so, and that helps a great deal, let me tell you. But many other things that you said, you find a book that's absorbing to read, or exercise. I do exercise every day, and that helps as well. And I find I can combine exercise with meditation, because it's a good time also to clear your mind of other distractions and then just kind of like focus your attention on your activity. So yeah, so I kind of have that combination there with that meditation. So yeah, so I do have a number of those resources, and I just really love the way that you just laid it all out.
Okay, good. Anybody else? I see somebody else up there. How about you, Gilbert? Hi, Gilbert. What do you do to take care of yourself, Gilbert? Do you have anything that you like to do?
I swim every morning.
Swim? Whoa, in a pool? You have your own pool. Oh, nice. Is it one of those pools where you swim and the water keeps going and you're really not, or is it a big pool?
Big pool, my building.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yep.
You got swimming buddies?
Yes, I do.
That's good. Do you get to talk to them and share?
Not really. Not when we're swimming. No.
Okay. All right.
It works. It really works.
It works. Okay. Anything else, Gilbert, that works for you?
And I pump. I pump 3 times a week.
Pump.
Oh, okay. You lift.
Okay.
You lift weights. Okay.
Do you do that at home or in a gym?
The gym.
Oh, okay.
We have a gym and a pool and a sauna downstairs.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very nice.
I think Sharon had her hand up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was dealing not only with my own health issues for 28 years, I also took care of my parents, who both in their later years had dementia until they both passed away. It was rough, plus I was raising my son. So when my friends knew what I was going through, because they said, well, what do you do? I said, what do I do? I said, during the day, I work. Then I go home when I raise my child and I raise my parents. The way that I tried to distract myself of what was going on a lot of times is I would go in my room for like 5 to 10 minutes at a time, sing, then go out to my parents, and my dad would say, "You missed a word in the song."
Thanks,
Now,
Dad.
okay, thanks, Dad, for listening. Now that I'm in a nursing home, it's tough for me in which I am the one who needs the help. And I still try though to help others. I mean, right now I've been bedridden the past month, so my being able to help others is not working all that great. But the do's and don'ts for me,
Mhm.
I don't have many of the don'ts. I really I have the tendency to reach out to those who I know don't have the voice. And a lot of times it does get me in trouble because I do have the big mouth.
So Sharon, so what can you do for yourself to self-care in a nursing home?
Again, I shut myself in my room a lot. I'm known as the coloring woman because when I do go out to activities, I have this huge box of colored pencils, a stack of papers this thick, and I color during the activities.
And you feel good doing that. You feel relaxed. You
Yeah,
enjoy that.
that's my, my mindset of I'm listening to what's going on.
Mhm.
I'm letting the mindset of I'm paying attention to what you're telling me, but when something starts to bug me really bad,
Mhm.
I'm concentrating more on the paperwork, more on the coloring.
Right.
Um,
Get out of it helps get out of the emotions and concentrate on doing some tasks.
Yeah.
Sudoku or word games sometimes. I love Sudoku. And word games not so much. The Sudoku. I like concentrating on the numbers. It gets me out of my worry and gets me focused on one task. And it's challenging for me. And I feel good when I get a whole puzzle done, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I
Thank
like
you,
it.
Sharon. It's good to
Thanks.
see you on camera. Thank you
Yes.
for joining
Thanks.
us.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else out there that want to chime in on self-care?
I can tell you that Gloria has reinforced in me the need to move every day. Every day. Just even if you go for a walk, just get out and move. And she's a big advocate of that because she actually does it herself. And I found that to be really strengthening for me. If she can do it, I can do it, because she has a way bigger schedule than I do. And singing too. I do want to try the coloring thing though, because man, that sounds like it's fun. But I've started putting together a list of songs that I listened to in the 70s, like Andrew Gold and Gilbert O'Sullivan, all those childhood songs, because all the words to them, and it's kind of comforting.
Yeah.
Janine, do you want to share?
Sure.
At this point in time, when you had your aha moment that maybe you were having compassion fatigue and didn't realize it?
Yes, I do. And this moment occurred to me on last Thanksgiving, a week ago today. I told Gloria and Terry, Thanksgiving of 2022, we were picking up Dad to take him to Thanksgiving dinner. My dad lives in a nursing home, the VA nursing home at Montrose in Upper Westchester. And we were picking him up, and we were running late as usual because of traffic and all that. And he wasn't really ready. Then he had to go to the bathroom. And when I finally got to the nurse's station with him, I was just so anxious, and you could just feel the anxiety just emanating from me. It's just radiating from me. And the head nurse, who is just lovely, loves my dad. It is so obvious she loves my dad. Just said to me, "You okay? You know, everything's gonna be okay." I'm like, "No," and I'm just like throwing up on her verbally. No, 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 no. And she goes, "Janine, you don't have to make everything so dramatic. Everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna be a few minutes late. They will take you. They want you there. Thanksgiving. You have so much to be thankful for. You're here for your dad." And she told me that she had lost her mom in July, and I hadn't even known. And she, just the way, her whole composure and the way she dealt with me and my anxiety and my drama really grounded me. And I didn't even remember that moment until last Thursday when I went to pick him up and she was there. And I just pointed out to her, "Hey, I've really grown a lot in the last year, and I have you to thank for it, because you made me realize that I really needed to take a step back and really think about everything that I do and say before I do and say it. And why am I doing these things, and why am I saying them?" And my relationship with her has changed in the last year for the better, because now I act more like a care partner. And I feel like I'm more thoughtful when even as I'm approaching the front desk as I enter my dad's nursing home. I'm more thoughtful. I'm not set off by things. I'm less angry, just by doing a few of the things. And it just happens to coincide with when I started working with Gloria. So I have Gloria to thank for that, and Laura Queen, the head nurse of my dad's unit. So care, compassion fatigue does happen to all of us, and it can be conquered or sidelined or even just minimized a little bit. That's my story.
That is wonderful. That is so awesome. Yeah, just to stop. The first thing is just to stop, I heard you say, and take a step back, just kind of breathe. You know, just breathe, just breathe. I think there's a song out there that says, just breathe.
Just breathe. Yes.
Breathe. That's an awesome song. So the stress, situations that causes us stress, and as it builds up, that compassion builds up, we don't even know it until it kind of explodes all over the place on different people and ourselves. So I think if we stop and think about what situations that causes us stress, and with that, once we realize what situations causes us stress, like if it's a certain person that drains us and sucks the life out of us, we can say, no, we don't need to go around that person today. So what do you do, if anything, to relieve that stress? So I want you to stop and think for a minute. And if you want to share a situation that brings you stress personally, and then what you do, if anything, to relieve that stress. And, you know, Ginny just shared that story about what was bringing her stress and what she did to relieve that stress. Does anybody else have any situations that bring you stress that you can share? How about you? Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say Barbara Stuck in the chat just said that ombuds people can get compassion fatigue.
Oh yeah,
Very much.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to say it's not if you're going to get passion fatigue, it's when, right?
Yes.
It's when it's going to happen, and you take that step back. I think that's awesome. You just breathe. You don't fight and you don't flight. You just kind of settle self down, detach, take a break from the craziness, and then, you know, evaluate yourself. You know, what's important to you? Is this really a big a deal and I'm making it? Is it more drama coming out of me? And but it builds up, and it's pretty normal to happen to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any situations that relieve stress for you in a different way?
Go for it, Jody.
So I think for us, just trying to find some acceptance around the whole thing. And as Janine was talking about Thanksgiving, like, Dad was at the table last year, and, some of my friends were saying, is he going to be able to make it this year? And we toyed with the idea, but for safety reasons and just like, he can't make it. And we felt he has dementia. And so I think that was harder on us than it was harder on him. I FaceTimed him and he was eating his pumpkin pie, which was actually chocolate pie. And I'm feeling horrible, but this is the process. And I think trying to get a little education behind that he's not going to be at Thanksgiving next year either, and preparing ourselves for what does lie ahead and then letting things go, that some of the traditions are going to be a little bit harder to let go this season, but being okay with what is. And I think that just really revolves around acceptance for us. And it's hard, but.
So I hear you saying, correct me, I'm hearing you say you step back and evaluate the situation and realize things changing and accepting the change. It's an acceptance of where your dad is at.
Yeah.
And that's got to be okay, right?
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was like I totally cried all day Thanksgiving, but like it wouldn't have been safe for him. It would have been very stressful. It would have ruined all of our holiday to try to get him upstairs. He's urinating himself. Like it just would have ruined everybody else's. So I guess like that whole mask thing, like my kids are in town from college, like they don't need, or we all just accept it that he's going to be happier and safer eating his pumpkin pie there with some family members than trying to put him on the roads and get him upstairs, and because we want him at that table. And that's hard, but like I said, just trying to kind of accept what's coming.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Just out of curiosity, Jody, what do you do to self-care for you?
So I'm in recovery. So I have a couple meetings a week that are really important to my sobriety. And those nights I'm not assigned with my dad. And it is kind of a joke because he's in a facility that has religious services on Sunday morning, very Catholic guy. And I'm on church duty every week. And my beliefs don't absolutely align with that. But I make a joke and I'm like, I'm there, I might as well pray. So again, just accepting, like I'm gonna sit there for a half hour in this Catholic mass, and it's not my chosen religion at this point, but I pray. So
and you feel better afterwards.
I do. And I'm
peace, right?
My daughter was home from college, and so she went with me last week, and I said, we're really there to make sure that like if Robin drops her communion that we pick it up, or that if somebody drops their book on the floor, we pick it up, and we help transport people. So it's really more than just getting my dad to church. It's really like service work too. So I guess trying to look at the positive.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have want to share a stress situation that they have and what they do to overcome it, or maybe that they don't? I don't know.
I do want to say that if it wasn't for the family council that I'm on, we formed it over 3.5 years ago. I don't know how I would cope with the day-to-day of having my dad live in a nursing home, because you can't control things, and being our family council acts almost like a support group, for lack of a better term. And which is why I'm so passionate about forming them in every long-term care residence across the country, because they really, every people on the family council know what I'm going through. It's kind of like you have that shorthand. I don't have to explain to them what's going on in the nursing home. They know they have loved ones living there. And we have almost like an endless patience for each other. In an unspoken language kind of, and these are friends that I will probably have the rest of my life as a result of this shared experience. So that's why I'm really gung-ho and big on family councils.
Right,
People
so
don't
you
realize.
didn't isolate yourself, you
No.
joined this support group. And that's a place where you can feel comfortable and build the relationships and have somebody to talk to, just kind of letting it out, right?
Yes.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right.
All right, so just 10 ways to prevent compassion fatigue. Get educated, practice self-care, set emotional boundaries, okay? Engage in outside hobbies. Find out what your hobby is, like doing art and coloring, adult coloring books, I love them. Cultivate healthy friendships. Keep a journal. Some people like to keep a journal, that helps. Boost your resilience. Use positive coping strategies. Saying no. It's instead of being a yes person all the time and you don't really want to say yes. Say no. It's okay to say no. Identify, well, this is for people who work. Identify workplace strategies. And then if you need, seek personal therapy. The support groups are great therapy, or, you know, personal therapy, seek it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Anybody's got questions for me?
Do we have any family council members here? Not necessarily from my own family council, but do we have any family council members here at all? No?
We don't even have a family council here. We just have the resident council.
Okay. Sharon, I would love to work with you on that. If you, do you have a family member that, or do you know of a family member that would like to start a family council? Because that is the necessary ingredient, unfortunately.
I wish I did. My son-in-law. I haven't even seen them in 3 years. They wrote themselves out of my life.
Is there in your facility, is there volunteers that come in, or like sometimes in different facilities they have programs with kids coming in and stuff that and they have a Grand Friends program?
No, I even suggested that a couple times in the resident council meetings, and I have been rejected each and every time.
Okay. Well, anybody got suggestions for her?
I do. Sharon, I have learned that when you have an ombudsman present at your resident council meetings, it changes the course of the meeting. It changes the vibe. Have you invited your ombudsperson to your resident council meeting?
We have the volunteer ombudsman who's there all the time. I'm trying to get the paid ombudsman to come. she's trying to get there, the next one.
Okay.
There's been some issues that I can't get into about that, but I mean, not against my bunsman, my Ada bunsman, who I love dearly. I really do. She has done so much for me and others here. But there's issues here in the home that it's tough.
Yes, and I think you and I share the same on Bud's person, and I
Mhm.
can tell you without any hesitation, I love her.
Yeah,
She is
she
a
is-
lioness.
I mean, Nancy is a doll.
Nancy, okay, all right, Nancy.
Yeah.
This is a different husband. Okay, sorry.
Mary, yeah, Mary is the volunteer, Nancy is the paid. I mean,
Okay,
Mary is great. I'm not taking anything away from her. She is super. She comes to see me every time she's here. And then we meet, I mean, when we have the resident council meetings, we normally sit next to one another. The last time, I even, with the paid abundance, I was told I had to ask permission in the council meeting for her to come. And I knew that was wrong. And I was told there had to be a vote. I'm like, what are you talking about? We've never had a vote for somebody to come to the council meeting before. So there's some issues regarding this right now.
okay, good to know. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm glad you're speaking up. You know, that's a safe place for you to speak up and say, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, like I said, there are times my voice gets a little too loud and I've gotten into a lot of trouble for it.
Okay.
But I can't keep the mouth shut at times. And the retribution has been, it's been fun,
Okay.
to say the least.
Thank you for using your voice.
Mhm.
I think Gilbert had his hand up.
Sharon, where are you?
Where am I? I'm in a little town in Rockland County. It's in Suffern. I'm about 45 minutes north of the city, New York City.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Gilbert. Gloria, I mean, I can see Gloria is just a testament to compassion fatigue. Gloria is Zooming from her car today because she is a care partner and she is in the middle of care partnering.
Correct.
So we can never take time off, right, from being there for our loved ones. Like Terry is with her husband and Gloria with her partner, the person that she's caring for, and me with my dad. You've got to be there. So if we are not there for ourselves, we cannot be there for our loved ones. Just think of that. And that's the part that keeps me going. Not just for my dad, but there are residents in my dad's nursing home who don't have anyone.
Right.
And I think of those people all the time.
Great. Do we want to show the rest of the video or do we want to just kind of wrap? What would you like to do?
What should we do? I don't know, Eric, do you want to show the rest of the video?
Yeah, up to you. We're at
Right, 9 minutes.
51.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say that, we
Well,
are so
Eric, I've got one to end with like a poem to end with. But if there's only a couple minutes left in the video, let's go for it, and then I can end it with what I got.
Why don't you give us your poem?
Okay.
Yeah, because it's important.
Okay. This is a poem by John Greenleaf Whitler. And it's Don't Quit, it's called. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure comes about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though, the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And when you can tell just how close you are, it may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit. For all the sad words of tongue and pen, the saddest of these is it might have been.
Great. That's
Thank you
awesome.
for that.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Terry, and thank you for making time for us. We know that we're in different time zones.
It's my honor. It's my honor. So thank you.
so much.
Thank you for having me.
And just
Yes.
a testament that compassion fatigue is real. It was real from Dr. Farley discovering it, from Mother Teresa wanting her nuns to have time, and it's real. And sometimes we just don't name it, but we wanted to bring an awareness to it today, and I hope we did that for everyone. And also expectations lead to disappointment, so don't expect unless you don't know what's happening out there. You don't know what you don't know. So be
And
kind to
Gloria,
yourself.
And the one thing I want to add is ditto on all of that. One more practice. Take 10 minutes every day for yourself.
Yes.
Whether it's praying, whether it's drawing, whether it's singing, whether it's exercising, whatever it is. If you take 10 minutes every day for yourself, whatever you like to do, it will relieve and dissipate the compassion fatigue. 10 minutes.
And that is the truth. That is the truth. Because the first time I heard about compassion fatigue at the conference, I think it was 2018, I went back home, and in my calendar every day for my work calendar, because I knew my Saturdays and Sundays I would exercise, but my work calendar, 10 minutes, lunchtime, go outside and take a walk, go outside and take a breath of the air that's out there, just remove yourself from what's going on. And it made a whole lot of difference. You have to have self-care.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. And
Yes.
Janine, in December, we're going to be focusing with family members, and we want everyone to join us and talk about things. It's the end of the year, December. I can't believe it. We've been doing this for a year, Janine.
Yes. It's been a good
Exciting.
year.
It has been.
So
A learning. Yes.
Yes. And I think we'll have our next session, not at the end of December, not the last Thursday, because I think it's the day after Christmas or a couple of days after Christmas. I know we're all going to be celebrating a much needed celebration and taking some time off for compassionate fatigue. So we'll probably have it the third Thursday, but look out for our invitation. Thank you for joining us. Check out Family Empowerment, that section on the LTCCC website, which is, as you know, I hope you know, it's nursing411.org. We have tons of goodies and fact sheets and resources for you to use with your resident councils, your family councils, and your loved ones, or anyone living in a nursing home. We are here for you. Just call us or email us. It's not too late to start a family council, and if you need our help, Gloria and I are really good at getting that started and maintained. Thank you for putting the link in the chat, Haley. And we appreciate everyone joining us today. And we appreciate you, Terry Gerstmeyer, for joining us from across the country.
Great.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.